What I love about having an old car, something as old as this, is that I can get my hands dirty. I can get under the bonnet, I can change things under there myself. It's not like a modern car where you have all the electronics and you have to take it to the garage to be done. If you look at how we're moving forward with vehicles these days, these old cars are going to become older and older and disappear. So to nurture, look after them is all part of immortalising that history of cars, having some of these cars still on the road. And for me, I still like the fact that I can get under the bonnet and tinker, because you can't do that these days. You know, you really are one-on-one with your car when you can do that to it yourself. I'm Caroline and I own a Mazda RX7 FB, which is a 1984 model. My earliest memories of cars were before I could even drive, and I recall going through town and seeing this stunning sports car parked up. At the time I didn't know it was an RX7, but I knew the style, I loved the shape, the sleekness of the car, and I knew there and then that that was the car I wanted to own when I was older. When I started to drive, you have to buy the cheapest car you can afford to get on the road, which is what I did. But I knew I still wanted that RX7. So RX7 was my big purchase. It was my big car, the one I dreamed of. It wasn't one that just filled a gap to get you moving from A to B. It's one you actually wanted to drive. That original RX7 that I bought was in my 20s, my mid-20s, and I absolutely adored the car. Sadly, that car, after a few years, got written off in a road accident, and I couldn't help it. I had to go back and buy another one. So I did buy another one, not the same colour, but then, you know, life gets in the way. You know, I got married, had children. I've not owned a sports car since way before they were born. And you get to that point, it's not a life thing, it's about enjoyment. I decided it was time to go back and get another car. There was only one thing it could possibly be, and that was the RX7. And I found the same tender blue RX7. It's an absolute twin of the original one I owned. The car that I love to drive, the feel of a car, it's not like a modern car. It makes me feel like I'm still back in my 20s. Driving the RX7 now, it just takes me back. It really takes me back 30 years. I feel like I'm back in that original car. The feel of the RX7, you have to remember, it's got no power steering, it's got no turbo. It's a real car. I feel like I've gone back in time. I mean, the car is from the mid-80s, and you know, the time when cars were real cars, you could feel the road through the steering wheel, you can feel it through the pedals. And for me, I feel like I'm back in my 20s again driving this car. That raw feel of a car, the sound of the car, the smell of the car, is not what you would get these days with a modern vehicle at all. So to me, it's nostalgic. And driving it now, not only does it takes me back, but it reminds me of an era where I fell in love with cars for the first time.